welcome to our debut show of Off the Cuff, a show that we hope you will find as interesting as we do.
Don't forget to subscribe to Three Border Sports Network on their YouTube channel, and you can also catch Off the Cuff on Red River Communications Cable Access Channel 3.
All right, before we catch up on what you've been doing the last couple of years, tell us about how you came up with the name Off the Cuff, because that was all Juli.
Well, I just have to say, so many of our shows that we've done in the past have been literally off the cuff. Some of our best shows we've done off the cuff. So that's why I came up with Off the Cuff. So
well, and this debut show is pretty much off the cuff. It's about the 1979 state basketball championship, the last state championship that Wahpeton has won. And the last couple of years, I've been spending a lot of time out at the golf course, playing and working. I've been working on the grounds crew, working a little bit in the bar, working in the pro shop. And who do I run into? A few weeks ago when we were talking about what are we going to do for our debut show, a member of the 1979 state championship team, Kerry Nelson, who, by the way, I met for the very first time when Dennis Eastman passed away a few years back, and that whole crew came to town. I mean, almost the whole class came back.
Wow.
after Dennis passed away, and the reason he was in town a couple weeks ago was for the Hall of Fame induction. Dennis Eastman was inducted into the Wahpeton Hall of Fame. So there were a number of players back from that 1979 team that we had a chance to catch up with, and that was a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun. So you mentioned you're spending a lot of time at the golf course. How's your golf game?
It's getting better.
Is
Thanks
it?
for
Well, there was
asking.
a lot of room for improvement.
Golf is one of those games you have to spend a lot of. If you're going to get better at golf, you have to spend a lot of time. And I'd never spent a whole lot of time. And I love the game of golf. Well, it's the only thing I can do right now. I don't have the wind to play hoops anymore. I mean, I go shoot around for 5 minutes and I'm winded. I love getting out on the golf course, and I played quite a bit this summer. How about you? Now, you've been doing a lot of traveling here the last couple of years.
I have. I've done a lot of traveling. We've been fortunate enough to follow my middle daughter's last junior and senior year of her volleyball career, so I never missed a volleyball game. So I was fortunate enough to go to all of those games. I went to 6 states I had never been to in my life, and just this past summer, Craig and I took our youngest daughter, Ashley, to Utah for a trip. So,
Utah?
Yeah.
Why Utah?
Well, if you remember, years ago when Anna and Allie were in high school, they went to Hawaii to play basketball. So that was like their big trip. Well, Ash didn't get to do that. So I told Craig, I said, we have to take her somewhere or we'll never hear the end of it. So we opted for Utah. I found a company called Mountain Based, and we teamed up with them, and we tented in Utah for 5 days. We went to Utah's Big 5 national parks.
The trophy wife tenting it, huh?
Yes, tenting it in 95-degree temps at midnight. So we went to 5 national parks in Utah. They're called Utah's Big 5. It's called Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, Arches National Park. Arches was probably one of my favorites. Bryce Canyon and Zion. And with COVID and everything that happened in 2020, the national parks have been incredibly busy. So when we went in August, we kind of went at a lull. So we were able to go to all 5 parks, not have any issues with crowds or anything like that. But when you go in August, it's 95 at midnight. So when you're in a tent, it's hot.
Any UFO sightings? You know Utah is a hotbed, no kidding, for UFOs.
Some things never change.
No kidding.
So
I've seen some great footage on
Well,
Utah, but that's a state I've never been to, but it looks absolutely beautiful.
The one national park we went to, Capitol Reef, is where they have the drawings on the rock of what looked like aliens. So I did get some pictures, and I thought of you when I was there. So that is besides being Mormon in Utah, there's people that are aliens.
So you didn't convert while you were down there, no?
No, I didn't. So that was probably the highlight of my summer, was tenting in Utah.
Well, good for you, because that one thing I haven't done at all is travel.
Really?
I don't even think I've been to the Twin Cities in a few years.
I went to Duluth. I had never been to Duluth before.
Oh, yeah.
Craig and I took the girls to Duluth on a fun little weekend getaway. That was a ton of fun.
We do have some nice getaways right in our backyard. Duluth, one of them, and Medora, another one. I've been meaning to get out to Medora and do some golf, and I haven't been out there in a while either. But that's something I got to get out. Well, we'll get out and move a little bit more now.
So catch me up on Stephen and Shaylee. Stephen's now coaching the Breckenridge Cowboys.
Yep, and absolutely loving it. And get this, my daughter Shaylee, well, she went out east to college, but was going to run track or pole vault out there at Delaware State. But with COVID, never got a chance to compete, so it was great. She came back. She's up in Fargo now. She's into mixed martial arts. She's
a fighter?
She had her first fight a couple of months ago down in Iowa. She'll be fighting at the Fargo Auditorium coming up on November 19th. So just like her mother. Just like her mother. So I think she's going to do quite well.
That's awesome. So you better be nice to Shaley or she'll kick your butt.
Yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's neat. And then you're going to be a mother-in-law.
I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Allie is engaged to Sam Busker. Allie lives in Missouri now, by the way. She and her boyfriend run a commercial goat farm.
Yeah, that's wildly interesting.
Very. Of all three girls, could you imagine Allie being the goat farmer? Well, she's loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loves it. She's a 7th grade science teacher down in Webb City, Missouri, and absolutely loves it. So we've been down there to see her a few times. Anna is a school teacher at the Hutterite Colony by Milner and absolutely loves it. So it's awesome when your kids find a career that they love and they are adulting and all of that. And Ashley is a freshman at NDSU, so just loving it.
Well,
so did you know last weekend was National Sons and Daughters?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so did you post anything on social media?
You know me, I'm not a poster.
I know.
I'm a creeper on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm not a poster. I literally have never posted anything.
I know.
On
know. You're not much for that. You're just like to like or scroll on by. Well, I was scrolling through Facebook and I'm seeing all these awesome posts that moms are putting on Facebook about their daughters. And I'm like, gosh, should I do something or not? And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. So I just kept scrolling. Well, all of a sudden I get a notification that I was tagged in a post. And so my oldest daughter, Anna, says, there was a meme that was out there that said, to all of you mothers who haven't posted for National Daughters Day, I have 2 words for you, nursing home. I'm like, all right, my little princess. So I got on Facebook and I posted this. Apparently, now I'm at the loser mom status because I wasn't one of the cool moms that posted for National Daughters Day. I've been informed I'm now 1 step closer to the nursing home for my lapse in judgment. Here's to you, my precious ones. I love you to the moon. P.S. Empty nesting is awesome. Maybe a baby brother on the way. And I instantly got a phone call from Ashley up at college. She's like, Mom, you have to take that off. Like, oh, heck no. When you guys pick on me on social media, that's your one use. You can only ring the bell once per show, so that's it. That's my signal to be quiet, right?
That is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell our audience what we actually named this show. But you might be able to imagine.
I feel like we should mention the wine. You know,
why the wine?
Well, it happens to be my favorite wine, so I thought I would share some with you. But it also, back in the day, remember when Kathy Lee and Hoda on the Today Show, they got to drink wine every single day, and I thought, what a dream job. So now we can drink wine.
Well, how about it maybe Wild Turkey? Why don't we? We can't do the same thing as Hoda and Kathy. Well, Kathy Lee's not around anymore.
No, she's retired, so now it's Jenna Bush Hager. But I just thought it'd be fun.
Wine will work.
Yes.
Wine will work. Well, enough about us. Let's talk about this 1979 state championship team. The last time Wahpeton has won a state championship, that 1979 boys state basketball championship. Yeah, and we caught up to them out at the golf course. I ran into Kerry Nelson when I was working in the pro shop, and I thought I had recognized Kerry. And he had mentioned that they're all coming back for the induction, Dennis Eastman, his induction into the Wahpeton Hall of Fame. So we asked if we could sit down with them for a little bit. We did. They gave us about a half hour of their time, and we just reminisced about the 1979 state championship. It was a lot of fun.
Take a look.
Let's go back. Let's go to that video now. We're going to do some reminiscing today. We have members of the 1979 state championship team, the Wahpeton Wops.
We have George Swenson, former head coach Lance Wolf, Kerry Nelson, Kerry Lindeman, and Mike Randall. So, gentlemen, welcome back to Wahpeton. With the exception of Swenny, the rest of you guys had to travel to come to down today, and you guys just got off the golf course. A beautiful day to be out golfing. And you know what, Coach Lance Wolf, these guys look like they can still play.
Well, I know they can't play golf.
Well, welcome back to Wahpeton. We appreciate you guys taking some time to join us.
Well, Lance, you had to have been one of the younger, it looks like you played with these guys. You had to be one of the younger coaches in the state back in 1979.
Probably, but I work out. These guys apparently aren't, except for Mike.
Well, let's go back to 1979. Kerry, what do you remember about that 1979 season?
Oh, I just think it was special. I think it was kind of a culmination from grade school on that year would happen, and it happened. And it was magical.
You know, they talk about, you know, going to state as, you know, an opportunity of a lifetime, memories that last a lifetime. Did it mean as much to you then as it does now?
For me?
Yeah.
No, it meant the world then. You know, who won state tournament 3 years ago? I mean, that doesn't matter. But at that moment, it was the pinnacle. That was a moment that you imagined for a long time.
All right, George, 1979, all seniors. Going into that season, were there high expectations going into that season?
Sure. We had Steve Krause, too. He was only a junior.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other ones there, too.
Yeah, so well, let's go through some of the players. Again, all the guys sitting here were senior starters on that team. Who were some of the other players that played on that team?
Jeez. Paul Teeley,
Billy Meyer,
Billy
Roger
Meyer.
Tobin.
Raj, yep.
Billy Meyer, a junior that year?
Yep, he was junior.
Yeah.
Krause. Krause got some.
Krause was the super sub.
You didn't have to worry about any bench clearing brawls when Krauser was around. Well, let's talk about the size of this team. Lance, I was looking at some old photos, and it looked like there was a lot of zone defense back in the days. And with this type of team, when you have big guys like that, there probably was a lot of zone defense played.
I think a lot of teams played zone against us too, just because of how tall these guys were. You know, we go back to '79, and as George said, there's a lot of expectations of this team because the year before we were in the state tournament too, and I think we ended up getting in the consolation round. We got beaten the first game by Minot. But I think the expectations are really high because this group of kids throughout grade school, junior high, always had good teams. I don't think they lost a game until they were seniors. When they started, we lost 2 games in '79. I think one was by 2 points and one was by 3. Those are the 2 games we lost. We lost to Jamestown in the regional. Then we had to play back. And I remember we played Fargo South, I think it was. And it was a close. Yeah, we beat Grafton, then we had to play Fargo South, I think, to go to the state. And I think it was a close game at the end. And I remember we had an out-of-bounds play at half court. Everybody went one way except Mike Randall, and he got the ball and laid it in, and we won that game. And then we went on to the state. And we really didn't have any tough games. I remember George against Minot in the semifinals. He couldn't miss from the corner. I don't know how many he made, 5 in a row. And there was a fan when we were leaving at halftime. He was a businessman in Wahpeton, and I could hear him yell, "Leave Swenson out there. Don't take him out. Don't take him into the locker room." Because he made like 5 in a row. And at that time, it was only a 2-point.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, if it had been a 3-point, he would have had 15 points at halftime.
Well, you really wouldn't have been able to control him then.
No.
Had you had the 3
We'd had
points,
to leave
it
him
would
out
have been
there.
very difficult
I don't
to
want to
control
tell
him
you
like
who
George.
the guy was, but his first name was Clyde.
I thought it was Art.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you look at how different the game was back in 1979. You mentioned no 3-point strike, no shot clock. We had the fan-shaped backboards back in 1979. The shorts were a lot shorter. George, if those were extra large, you could have used probably the double X looking at some of those photos.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Swenny, could you dunk?
Could I?
Yeah. Did you?
Well, we couldn't.
Oh, you
Back
weren't
then it
allowed
wasn't
to dunk.
technical.
No, we
back
could
then.
dunk. We could dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, you did.
Yeah,
didn't
we
you?
had dunks.
Yeah, you had a
I
couple.
just didn't let Nelson dunk because he was
Yeah,
up
we
in
had,
that broke.
we had- we had a few dunks.
Remember Jim
I
Adelson at
broke-
all?
Oh,
that
yeah.
happened, that
Last
happened
tells
junior
Jim
year in
Adelson, "Now watch
Jamestown.
this." So we're in a practice shoot around, before the game started. So Nelson goes up, he dunks one and shatters the backboard.
This was during the practice.
No, who
But
did
that's
that?
when they were juniors.
Carrie?
What did Jim Allison have to say about that?
Well, it was, who was the reporter for the Fargo Forum?
Yeah, the
Kurt
Raiders.
Munson?
Munson, yeah.
Yeah, so we finished the shooting practice the morning of regional finals in Jamestown. And Lance comes up to me and he goes, Nelly, dunk one. So I took the ball to the free throw line and Lance yells, "Hey Munson, watch this."
We broke the backboard.
Shattered it.
Shattered.
So then, did they have to put a new backboard
We
on?
had to go to Valley City to find the closest basket they could find was a middle school in Valley City. They had to go 60 miles to get ready for the game. I was terrified. I thought I'd have to pay for it.
But you're talking about overall height? We played against guys that are way bigger than we were.
Yeah, who were some of the tougher teams in North Dakota in '79?
Jamestown would have been, that's who we played in the finals, the state championship. They have Anderson kids, weren't they?
We had
Were
Paul-
big kids.
Paul
Yeah,
Anderson.
He was good.
yeah,
Fargo North with Mike Wacker
yeah.
was
Yeah.
really good.
Oh,
West
South.
Fargo with Bob Newgard. He was huge.
South, 80.
South with Heidi.
So Breck Wamp obviously was a big rivalry back in the '70s. Who were some of the other big rivalries back in the '70s? Some of your big rivals.
I always thought
I
North.
always thought the Fargo schools.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like David against Goliath. I mean, we're a town of 7,000. They're just a bigger town, bigger school.
You know,
And I think Jamestown was too, because Jamestown always was really good. When we played them in the regional, they beat us 39-37 because, as you mentioned, there was no shot clock, and Jerry Meyer used to like to hold the ball. But then we got back to them in the finals of the state tournament that year.
It could have been Minot too.
Yeah, we played Minot a couple times.
How many games a season did you guys play then?
I think we were
26,
24-2
Yeah, 26 games.
Yeah,
with the
24
tournaments.
24-2.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was our '79 record.
So Coach, who's looking back at that team from 1979? Who on that team was the most spirited or had the most,
Well, I'd have to say that Kerry here would probably had the most,
Sure.
yeah. And I don't know if you know this about Kerry, but when Kerry was a sophomore, we farmed him out to Fargo South for a year because he could play up there because we had too many good players.
He was
And
a
then
Bruin for a while.
Yeah, and then he came back as a junior. We had him farm him out so he could get a little experience.
Sure.
And when I was a sophomore playing for Fargo South, we beat Wahpeton 2 out of 3. We beat them by 15 the first time.
you had to get that one in
and
there.
we beat them in regions. I'll never forget that because
So,
All right,
so whose team are you on?
I'm on this team.
Okay, so George the center. We have
Kerry was the center.
Terry was the center.
Kerry
Okay,
was,
George and Kerry Lindemann forwards.
No,
I was a two guard.
he
You
was
were
a two-guard, and
Okay.
Mike and George were the forwards.
Okay, and then they had
And
Dennis.
was the other guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's some players who you remember long after they played. People from all communities remember some players long after they have played. Dennis Eastman is certainly one of those guys. What were his special attributes?
One thing about Dennis, he was kind of a quiet leader. I think the rest of the players really looked up to him as a leader.
Yeah, he was just so calm.
Yeah.
Even playing with them in football in high school, I even played with them at science. He's just totally cool under pressure. And I mean, look, going back and watching some of the film and the old games, he was a magician with the basketball. I mean, he was going around his back, through his legs, with purpose. It wasn't just showboat like George would do once in a while.
like he did in the state tournament.
Right? Yeah.
Did you ever let Swanee bring the ball down the court, Coach?
He tried when
George
we were playing with Dickinson and Trinity, George. Either that or Minot, and he's going behind his back between his legs. And he's supposed to be a forward, not a guard. But weren't you a guard when you were smaller though?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a guard, so he still thought he was.
All the big guys want to be little guys.
Yes.
All the
I grew
little
6
guys
inches
want to be big
over the
guys.
summer between my 9th and 10th grade year.
How much?
6 inches.
No kidding.
So I went from guard to. I never put on a pound of weight though. That was a rail.
I do remember you always shooting that corner shot, though. He did like the little jumper in the corner, didn't he?
It saved him all those steps that he would have had to take to go closer to the basket.
Or to the bench when he got pulled for dribbling between his legs.
Just trying to help you guys out.
So looking back at that season, we'll start with you, Mike. What was your most favorite memory of that season, 1979?
Oh, man, I think there's a lot of them. But I think as we sit here today, I think the whole memory for me is all about you go through a life moment like that with guys like this who you've known forever and you played with in junior high and all the teams up until high school. You know, you did it together. You talked about it after practice, before practice, in class. Hey, one day we're going to win state and we're going to do all this stuff. And, you know, maybe you believe it, maybe you don't. But, you know, looking back on it after this length of time, it's cool because we were all friends then, we're all friends now. And I don't think that happens very often.
Yeah, it is neat to see a group that's so tight. Unfortunately, we lost Dennis a few years ago back in 2017, and I remember that. I remember right here where we are. Just a great showing of people who were out to show their last respects to Dennis. That was the last time I saw most of you guys.
Yeah, I would say there was something else special about 79. I remember in sixth, the town opened the armory for after-school recreation when we were in later grade school. So we'd go after school and play basketball. Sixth grade, I remember organizing layup drills to practice for the state tournament in sixth, seventh grade, you know. But when we were, that state tournament, the pieces that matter is the support of our town was unbelievable. They even found a way to jerry-rig the sugar beet plant to make the Red River stink all the way to Canada.
That's right.
You know, and our fans, they won the fan award. Our cheerleaders won the cheerleader award.
Yeah.
It was just it was magical. And the other thing interesting about 1979's class is we were the biggest demographics, the greatest numbers of kids in our grade level ever. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of went down ever since baby boomer. It's kind of gone down ever since. So, you know, it was a special moment.
What did we graduate? 283?
No, we graduated about 160. But in grade school, we had, you know, classes of 35, 36 kids in Zimmerman and Center.
Kerry Lindemann, how about you? What's your favorite memory from that season?
You know, and it kind of fits in with what you mentioned about our fans. You know, that side of the gym for all our home games, but it was the court at the end when the final buzzer went off and getting that court rush down on the field house. That was my favorite moment.
Let's talk about the Breck-Wop rivalry. Mike and I were talking earlier how rivalries have changed over the years. There wasn't one quite like the Breck-Wop rivalry when you go back into the 70s. Just taking a look at some of the old pictures. I brought one, George, to take a look at in all. Let's see, 3 of you guys are in that photo. But what do you remember about the Breck-Wop games back in the day? Back then, Breck-Wop used to play 3 times a year with the holiday tournament. Things have changed a little bit now. Now there's just one meeting between
Both
those
gyms.
two.
It didn't matter if it was Breck or Wop. They were busting at the seams. I mean, I imagine GR as the radio guy and a fireman was going crazy because there were too many people.
Yeah, there's a lot of barn burners then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I think
pulling his hair out.
we're the first ones to play at science school.
Yeah, we started playing
we
at
did
science in 79.
That started in 79, huh?
Yeah.
Well, back
It
then
was-
you could feel it. You know, that hasn't been the case in recent years, but back then, the activity center was filled for the Breck-Wop game, wasn't
Well,
it?
we played our home game at the science school.
Okay.
Breckenridge refused. We played their home game in the Breckenridge gym.
And that would have been that year then. That would have been your senior year. You wore 44, Kerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you sported a heck of a do back in the day, too.
I don't know what that means, but
With a heck of a hairdo.
Colors a little different.
Coming from the guy that's got the heck of a hairdo, I don't know who he's.
hey, that used to be Kerry's hair. Rollie, look what you're looking at.
think the last time we played in Breck, all the Breck fans like to throw quarters and change and stuff at Eastman. I think that one game he actually made like $5. He put it in his sock.
Well, it was nasty. It was different, though, wasn't it? Back in '79, and you've been around here now, George. That rivalry was much more intense back in '79 than it is compared to today. Where a lot of these kids actually are pretty good friends nowadays. They play. A lot of these kids play AAU together. They talk to each other on Facebook. That was not the case back in 1979.
No.
Breck kids didn't hang around with WAP kids, really, did they?
No, not at all. I mean, you really didn't get to know who they were as a person until you're in college
Right.
or out of college, and then you realize, hey, you know what? They're not so bad. They're okay.
See, and
But-
at that
but
time,
when you're playing,
you couldn't have AAU teams at that time.
Right,
Oh,
right,
Have
yep.
High school activities wouldn't allow you to even get together in the summer.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's been a benefit to basketball that now kids can play in these AAU tournaments during the summer.
In fact, one of those Breck rivalries, I don't know if Greg Roach, he just passed away
Yep.
not too long ago, threw a live chicken out.
Oh yeah, I remember. Well, Rochi was kind of the big. He was the guy. He was the spirit guy in Breck. He's the guy. Did you guys have a guy like that? Wasn't
Cath.
Iter? Wasn't Iter
John
a '79 grad? Or?
John Cath was.
Oh yeah.
Actually, we had a whole group of guys that
Yeah.
called themselves the Rat Pack. It wasn't original, but they did it well.
Yeah.
And they actually came to like every one of our away games, traveled to all of our away games, and they were rowdy. And
Long trench coats,
Yeah.
briefcases.
but I think the Breck rivalry went all the way back to the 40s and 50s. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was brutal all the way along the line. I've never owned a piece of green colored clothing in my lifetime, for example.
Kerry, you had mentioned that you had played college ball with Dennis at North Dakota State School of Science.
Right.
Back then, did that, having played with him at the high school level, did that help, that relationship help going to the next level and playing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Denny had gone out to San Diego State and started there.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about this last night. I don't remember if he actually came back that freshman year or if it was the next year, but we had a few of us that were from Wap High that were on the science team, and then Denny came back, and I mean it was a lot of fun. I mean, we had for a JUCO team playing a lot of the state schools, Minot State, Dickinson State. We would give them good games. Jamestown always seemed to kick our butts, but it was a good time. And Dennis, he was the leader of that offense, and just like he was in high school, both our football team and our basketball team.
And that, just a kind of a side note to that, when Dennis got done at Wahpeton Science, he wanted to go to Morehead State. And he called me because the coach of that Morehead State was a professor of mine at NDSU, because he used to be at NDSU, Ross Forgy. And he said, will you call the coach for me? I said, yeah, no problem. And Ross told me, he says, well, we got our quarterback back, started last year. I said, well, you give Dennis a chance. Well, the other kid during spring ball left, because Dennis was way better than him. And Dennis ended up playing there, I think, 2 years. So, yeah, Dennis is just a good silent leader, as I said. And as Kerry just said, people just looked up to him because he was always very calm, never got excited.
Yeah.
Except when George is dribbling between his legs.
we all got excited.
Yeah. And it didn't matter. Yeah, everywhere he went, he led. He's now a member of the Hall of Fame here at Wahpeton High School. He's a Hall of Famer at the North Dakota State College of Science, and I'm not so sure if he's not a Hall of Famer up at Morehead State.
Yes, he is.
He is. Yeah.
Same year. He went into both colleges the same year. 93 or whatever year it was.
Lance, how long did you coach then after?
Well, that was it.
That was it. Huh? What a way to go out then.
It was enough after these guys.
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah.
I got to get out of here.
Yeah. Well, there's so much truth behind that. Once you win a championship, no one can take that away. And yeah, it's just neat to see you guys get together and reminisce. How often do you get together like this?
Not often enough.
Yeah. Well,
Life gets in the way.
yeah. Well, where is everybody now? Yeah, George obviously has been here. Lance, you've been up in
I'm in Fargo.
In
Yeah.
Fargo. Kerry?
I've been in the Houston area for 33 years.
Okay.
Houston, Texas.
Kerry, how about you?
Phoenix for me.
In Phoenix, and
Yeah.
you've been down there. Lifer now down in
Yeah,
Phoenix?
we've been down there now 21 years. Yeah, it's been great. Love it down there.
Yeah. But you get back enough. You get family back here, and
Yeah, and of course, I mean, there are a lot of North Dakotans and a lot of friends and family that have places down there now. Yeah, we see a lot of people, friends and family, both places, up here and down there.
and Mike, of course, you've been down in the St. Louis area for a
we
number of
moved
years. Some
around a
good
little.
basketball down in that area.
Yeah, we moved around a little bit, but I've been in St. Louis for just under 25 years, so.
So I have to ask you guys as players, how was Lance as a coach? If you guys made some mistakes out on the court, did he come down on you? Did you have some pretty heavy drills you had to do in practice? What was that like?
Well, I think
He
really,
didn't coach, Ben Fink did.
yeah. I think when we're on the range today, he told us to get on the line. I think we all realized nothing has changed.
Well, I probably bring a different perspective because I played for a year at Fargo South and I saw how they did things. And
It's getting serious.
Lance every day had a plan for practice, typed out on a piece of paper. Every game had handwritten because
Right.
pre-computers, but very detailed game plan.
Scouting reports.
He made us memorize the tendencies of the person we were going to guard, and we had to report on that before the game.
You did?
Yeah, remember he'd go around and he would ask.
You
and
did.
he'd understand. But I think honestly, I think Lance was the Dennis Eastman of basketball coaches. He was a class act. I think I was proud that he was our coach. He dressed well. He ran things well, and
It's funny you had mentioned that because that's what I remember about Lance. He was a sharp. He was a sharp dresser. He liked to look sharp. Lance, how long did you coach? How long did you coach Wahpeton?
I coached I taught school and coached for 8 years. And I was a head coach for 4. Carl Wall was a coach before that. I was a head coach.
So you had to be in your 20s then when you started
early,
as.
Yeah, early 20s. Yeah.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Wahpeton.
You did grow up in
Yeah.
Wahpeton.
Yeah. That was nice, When I was in high school, we had a very good team. And we ended up getting beat in the semifinals of the state tournament by Bismarck. We had one of our players call a timeout. It was a tie game with like 40 seconds to go, but it was the 6th timeout.
Oh. Technical foul?
Made 2 free throws. We lost by
No.
2. So we always dreamed of winning the state championship, like these guys mentioned, and we ended up finally winning one. And it took 25 years for Wahpeton to win the state championship. I think they won in '54. I think Steve Krause's dad was on that team, and George's dad was on the 41 team. And
That won a state championship
yes,
also.
so we had Steve and George parents or dads were both on state
That
championship.
is really neat.
Yeah, so it took us 25 years to win again, and now it's been 42 years. Wahpeton always had pretty good basketball teams, and I know as Kerry mentioned that the fans when we won the state championship, I think it was really exciting for them too, and we had such good following from our fans, no matter if it was home or away. Because when we used to play in Fargo, the gym was packed with Wahpeton fans. So, of course, everybody likes the winner, right? Mm-hmm. But our fans are really good.
Yeah. It was a special time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back in the
Heck,
back
I
in
think
the
there was a
70s.
caravan when we were coming back
Right.
from the
Yeah.
championship. It was like,
Wolverton.
what the
Where was
Wolverton?
the game at?
Fargo.
In Fargo.
The field house.
Yeah.
And that caravan was to Wolverton.
We came home down to 75, right?
Yep.
Because we stayed at the
Holiday in Moorhead.
Holiday in Moorhead. Yeah. Yeah, we
Hanging out the windows.
They had a flatbed truck for us to sit on, but it was only like 30 degrees, so we didn't do that.
Good thing we knew the bus owner.
Yeah, yeah.
That's bad.
Well, after I
Special
had visited with
dispensation.
Kerry, I just went to look through pictures see if I might be able to find pictures from that season. I found just a couple, but you could just see how exciting of a time it was back in '79.
I think one of the most interesting things, and I might be fractionally off, but I think in terms of scoring, our top score was 13.2 points a game. Our next was 12.9. Our next was 11. Our next was 10, and our next was 8. And if you go and read those games, there were games when this player put us over the edge, games when that player put us over the edge. I mean, we really were
Balanced.
yeah, in a very unselfish. We didn't have any. It's all about me's. It was a,
Wanted to win.
we just wanted to win.
You know, a lot of different guys that could score. You had a lot of options there, Lance.
Yeah.
How about defense? How was their defense?
Our defense was pretty good. I mean, like I said, we lost 2 games by a total of 5 points. And at that time, a lot of teams held the ball. I think the other team that beat us was Grand Forks Central.
Yeah,
And that was
Overtime.
up there.
Yeah, and they shot 25 free throws, and we shot like 5. And they beat us by 3. But our defense was always pretty good.
Yeah, and
You get
this
around
team,
the big guys, you know.
this team would have won regardless if there was a 3-point stripe or a shot clock. It really wouldn't have mattered with a team like this. You could have played either way.
I don't know, 3-point line would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been dangerous. George and Mike, yeah.
Until you start dribbling between your legs.
Keep bringing that up.
Seems to be a talk or a theme.
Well, that was fun. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us. I'm sure this brings back some very fond memories for fans, not just in Wahpeton, but fans across Richland and Wilkin County. And I think even people over in Breck. We mentioned how intense that rivalry was. I think it was a lot of fun for Breck fans to watch that run too.
What, wasn't that the year they had a nice run?
They
Yeah.
had a great team that year.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think they might have went to they did go to the state
Is
tournament.
that the year they
that
ran
year.
into Randy Brewer, or was
Yeah.
that the year before?
That was the year before, yeah, where they played in the state championship against Randy Brewer. So, yeah, there's some great memories that will certainly last a lifetime, not just for you guys, but for Wahpeton fans for a long time to come. So we appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you guys coming
Thank
by.
you.
Thanks.
Not too soon to get ready for graduation, and Bold Print in Wahpeton is your graduation headquarters. Everything from signs, banners, invitations, and more. If you're looking for that special personalized gift, Bold Print offers custom canvas prints and framing, and new to Bold Print is their custom decal machine, which is great to promote your business. Give them a call today, 642-2188, or check them out online. Use boldprint.com.
You don't have to be a superhero for your support to be important at Jesse's Toy Box. There are many ways you can ensure every child in the hospital will receive a toy. Every little bit that you commit goes a long way in helping fulfill their mission. Make a monetary donation, have your business become a Jesse's Toy Box drop-off location, or drop off new toys at any of the Jesse's Toy Box locations. Learn more about how you can get involved and take advantage of the opportunity to do some good. Jesse's Toy Box, ensuring every child in the hospital receives a toy.
Welcome back to Off the Cuff with Rollie and Juli. Our good friend Ned Clooten, Wahpeton High School principal, joins us. Ned, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great to be here. I'm excited for this. This will be great for the Wahpeton area.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, there was a ceremony, a Hall of Fame ceremony over at Wahpeton High School.
Yeah, we inducted 4 new members into our Hall of Fame. We now have 14 members, so we're really taking off, and every ceremony is so special. It was a great day.
So how many people were inducted, Ned?
4 of them.
Okay.
We actually had 2 others that we voted in, but both of them had conflicts with the weekend. So I won't spill the beans. One of them was filming a movie in Canada, and one of them is someone that most people will know as well. So we'll save those for next year.
So how many members are in the Wahpeton Hall of Fame?
Yeah, we've got 14 now. We did 5 the first 2 years, and this year we voted 6 in, but only 4 could make it.
Okay, so this Hall of Fame, you just introduced this a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we're 3 years in, and it's been a great thing. I think the biggest thing that we want people to know is that anybody can nominate. And all they have to be, the only qualifications is that they're a Wahpeton High School graduate or they are a retired faculty member. So a lot of people don't know about the retired faculty member. We've inducted at least one in every year, so that's an important piece for people to know as well.
Now, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. Can you remember the ones that have been inducted in the first couple of years?
I remember a lot of them. I don't know that I could name off all 10, but we're going to do a trivia piece later, and that's what it's about. So, yes, we'll get
some
to
trivia questions from the radio days. I like that, man.
I think that was the most important part. Now people can see Juli hitting.
And I am the defending champion, as I recall.
I
recall I am.
No.
If you were, that was the one and only time. Rollie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, that'll be a lot of fun. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Now, Dennis Eastman, one of those inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know you have a neat story about Dennis, but let's talk about the 3 others that were inducted.
Yeah, so the first one would be David Myra. David is, he authored over 140 books. He is a Vietnam veteran, lifelong career in the military. No living family members direct, so his nephew from Grand Forks came down and did his introductory speech and received the award for him. It was great learning about David, but you know, somebody that was part of the CIA their whole life, you don't know a lot about their life. So he was very influential. He was a specialist in aviation history. So he actually wrote a book on the Nazis' plan to bomb New York City. A lot of people don't know that they had a plan to come in and bomb New York City during World War II. But a lot of his books are really interesting, especially if you're into aviation.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, really cool.
Who else?
Cindy Borchert, she is our first Wahpeton alumni and former faculty member. So Cindy graduated from Wahpeton High School in 1969. Her class was the first class to spend all 4 years in our new high school. And she went to UND and came back in 1973 and served her whole career here. Over 40 years, substituted after she retired. And the number of lives impacted is pretty amazing in our Wahpeton community, both as alumni. She was very active, and as a coach, advisor, and math teacher. So she was a fun one to hear some stories about.
Well deserved.
Yeah, very well deserved. Let's see, Dennis Eastman would be number 3, I think. Dennis, really interesting story. Kerry Nelson was a teammate of his that came from Texas back up to do his introductory speech, and Dennis's daughter Megan accepted on behalf of the family. But Kerry talked about how the legend of Dennis Eastman started when he was an 8th grader. They had 8th grade football, and that class, you know, they won the state title in 1979 basketball. But that class was amazing before Dennis moved in. Kerry said they had not lost a football game in 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. So then you added somebody like Dennis Eastman in there, he said all of a sudden, now it's just outrageous, you know. But after their 8th grade season, Kerry said that they brought Dennis up to varsity as an 8th grader. They put him on punt team in the first game. He went down and just cleaned this kid's clock. And he said that was the moment that the legend of Dennis Eastman started.
It's funny you use the word legend because, I mean, that is one word you can use with Dennis Eastman. I mean, that's one athlete that it seems like everybody, not just Wahpeton and Breckenridge, but everyone around the state knows the name Dennis Eastman.
Well, and I think it says volumes, too, about what Dennis's character was, where when he passed away, people just converged on Wahpeton to pay their respects to Dennis. And then again, when they inducted him into the Hall of Fame, I think that just says a lot about Dennis.
Yeah, he's a member of the Science School Hall of Fame. He's a member of Morehead State's Hall of Fame, and now he's a member of Wahpeton High School. So quick story. I heard this from John Ganji, who was at the time in the 70s coaching track. And Kerry reiterated this, what John told me, that Dennis was one of the only people that they knew that was a high school celebrity. And it started as a freshman. Like, he started varsity quarterback as a freshman on a very good team. And people, they would go to track.
And back in the day when they played in the EDC.
Yeah, they played in tough schools, right? And he was, the legend of Dennis Eastman wasn't junior, senior year. It started early, and he was an outstanding athlete. So they would go to track meets, and they'd walk by, that's Dennis Eastman. That's Dennis Eastman. I'm going to try to not get choked up on the story. The last time I told her I got choked up. But here, so you have this person who's a high school celebrity. right, is the cock of the walk, so to speak, right? Has every reason to stick out his chest. And Ganji said that they went to a track meet at Barnesville High School, and it was a freshman-sophomore track meet, and Dennis was a sophomore at the time. And Dennis had been in 3 events, won every event, hands down, nobody even close to him, right? Anything he would do, like Kerry Nelson said, even his handwriting was perfect. Everything Dennis did was great. So John has these 3 kids that just weren't athletes out for track, and they wanted to run the 4x400 meter. Nobody wanted to run with them. They knew they weren't going to win anything. And why would I want to run that? It's the last race of the day. I've already competed in everything else. So John brings his team together and says, I need somebody to step up. Somebody needs to run with these 3 guys. You're probably not going to win. You just need to go out and do it as a workout. Dennis Eastman raises his hand. I'll do it. And what's amazing about that as a former coach, and why it chokes me up, is because we love coaching athletes that will put others before them. Dennis had already won his 3 events. He had nothing to prove. And he went out, and not only did they win the race, those 3 kids never won another ribbon in their entire high school career, and thought that was the best thing on earth. And Dennis made that happen. Not those 3 kids. They would have never won the race. But because Dennis was willing to say, I'll step and I'll do it. So, I mean, here you have this man that was a high school celebrity and had the character not of a prima donna like he could have been, but this servant's heart. And I just think that speaks volumes to a man that I've never met. But,
Can you imagine what those 3 athletes felt like getting to run with him?
Yeah.
Just so cool. It really says a lot about Dennis's character. And, you know, they always say people don't always remember what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And Dennis just epitomized that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I never got a chance to meet Dennis. I was fortunate enough to see. I would have been in grade school back when he played, but I was fortunate enough to be able to see him play a number of times. But I didn't even realize that he was a trackster. I know he was a baseball stud, a football stud, and a basketball stud. I didn't even realize that he ran track and was so successful in track.
Anything he did, he was one of those guys that could do all those events and be a stud at it. So yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, and you had one other inducted.
Yeah, we had somebody whose maiden name was Dorothy Formanek. Her last name now is Henke. And she doesn't go by Dorothy, she goes by Dots. And in 2012, in retirement, started getting requests from friends, hey, I love your pretzels. Would you make some pretzels for my party? And that's where Dot's Homestyle Pretzels began, in her kitchen in Sawyer, North Dakota.
The best pretzels on the market. Hands down, and I had no idea that she was a Wahpeton graduate. How cool is that?
Yeah, she's a Formanek, and the Formaneks are actually founders of Wahpeton. They go all the way back into the 1800s.
A lot of history.
Lots and lots of history. And Dot said that the first 2 years when they were doing this, she baked everything in her kitchen. They didn't have anything formal, so she said, how does a graduate in 1973 of Wahpeton High School that really was, a farmer's wife for most of her career, how does she become the second leading pretzel industry in the United States?
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
They are the number 2 pretzel company in the United States.
Well, and well deserved too. We went on a hiking trip in Utah, and at every convenience store we stopped at, Dot's Pretzels. So people that were with us in our hiking group were from the East Coast, and they had never heard of it.
Yeah.
So you have to try these pretzels. They're, the gal is from Wahpeton, where she started, and so we've got converts now on the East Coast that are loyal Dot's Pretzel fans. Every station we went to, they bought pretzels and brought them back to the East Coast with them.
I tell you what, Wahpeton is finding some space on grocery shelves across the country with Dot's Pretzels and giant seeds.
Oh,
it's
yes,
amazing.
Exactly. Great. Both fantastic stories. And now Dots has their production facility here in North Dakota, also in Arizona, and they opened one in Kansas as well.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Those are our 4 nominees, all well-deserving and all great.
Well, I'm excited to hear the 2 for next year.
So that brings the number up to 14 total. 14 total.
14 total.
Yep. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in, but before we let you go, I know there's something you want to talk about quick.
All right. Oh, yes. I got to plug a little bit. We're going to do the Wahpeton High School Day of Kerry. Richland Wilkin United Way used to do this, and I think that we don't have a United Way locally anymore. But we started this a few years ago, where we push our kids out in groups of about 15 to 18 kids, and they try to go out and serve our community. We have a large group going to the cemetery to trim around headstones, to clean headstones. We want to serve, and we still have some groups that are looking for places to go, whether it's a project in your backyard or leaves to rake, we will supply the manpower, we'll supply the bags to put the leaves in, rakes if they're needed. So if people have jobs that they need help with, our goal here is to teach kids that there is a world outside of themselves, right? And when we started, I didn't know what this would be like, especially with some of our toughest students. They enjoy it the most.
So if people need some help,
Yeah.
how do they get on the list?
Call Wahpeton High School, ask for me, 642-2604. I've got a spreadsheet running, and we'll just add them to the list as far as what they need. And we may not send a whole crew of 15 kids over. We might just send 3 or 4 to take care of it.
And what day is the day of caring?
It is on a Wednesday.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So just call the high school, 642-2604, and we'll put you on the list.
All right, sounds like a great program. I forgot you got some trivia here. I'll give her a shot at the title. Heck, I'll give her a shot at the title.
I just in case Ned
Why
brought
not?
trivia, I brought a dry erase board resurrected from the Moat Girls School Playhouse.
love
Do
it.
not ask any math questions.
And
math.
don't ask him to spell anything because he'll fail at that. So Ned, do you want to be the scorekeeper
Yes.
too?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. So
Okay.
we'll just put it like that, and I'll lift it up after
All
we
right.
talk about points.
Okay.
So I have 10 questions.
Okay.
The first 3 will be without a word bank. This last 7, I'm going to give you the 14 names of people who have been inducted so that you can choose from those 14.
Okay.
Okay? Now, in the past, it's either been first to ring the bell or we've taken turns. What's the
I think
preference?
she gets a little out of hand when you do the
No,
buzzing and-
he can't think
She's-
fast enough, so
no.
he doesn't want the bell.
I think we should just alternate the questions.
Alternate
and if
questions.
you miss the question, then the other person gets the
yes.
chance to steal.
Knowing this, that there are some that are harder than others. So, Rollie, who should go first?
Let's ladies first.
All right.
Absolutely. I'm
So
a
Juli's
gentleman.
up.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
I'm a true gentleman.
Now, let's see.
He tries.
One of our inductees is often referred to as Mr. Wahpeton. Name him.
Clark Williams?
Ooh, that's a great guess, but that is incorrect. Rollie?
Mr. Wahpeton. Dennis Eastman.
Oh, that's a great answer, too. No, Hughes Drive, Hughes Shelter,
Oh,
Robert Hughes,
Hughes.
Mr.
Yep.
Wahpeton. All right, donated the land for the golf course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great,
Yeah.
great
He
family
truly
name.
is
So
Mr. Wahpeton.
Robert Hughes. All right, this is you, Rollie.
Okay.
Oh, you should really get this one. This is a little bit
See,
easier.
don't put. You're gonna have to put on. Don't do
Okay,
that.
all right. Wahpeton has 2 people who have been given the coveted Rough Rider Award by the state of North Dakota. One of those 2 people is also a member of our Wahpeton Hall of Fame.
Gosh.
Name this person.
Five, four,
Clark
three.
Williams.
Boy, a good guess, but no.
Woody Keeble?
No, that's a really good guess, but I believe Woody was Circle of Nations.
Oh,
So not a graduate. The correct answer is Louise Erdrich.
oh sure.
Okay? Now, this is pure coincidence, Rollie, so you can't call me a homer. Julie, can you name the other member of the Rough Rider Club from Wahpeton?
Clark Williams.
No!
What?
Rollie.
Yeah. I mean, if it
What?
was,
Oh, no, you said Clark.
oh, the Rough Rider. Gosh. Dennis Eastman.
Wow, you're going to kick yourself. Woody Keeble!
No.
Okay, if anybody's
it's
wondering, it's still 0-0.
Oh gosh. Well, this isn't produced live, so we'll most likely cut this.
No, no.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
So there we have our inductees you were asking earlier. In 2019, we inducted Tony Anderson, Robert Hughes, Roger Jensen, Paul Ruddy, and Clark Williams. 2020 was Louise Erdrich, Karen Kerwald, Jack Pfister, Susan Hesh Swenson, and Roger Warner. And now this past year was Cindy Borchert, Dennis Eastman, and Dorothy Formanek-Henke, along with David Myra. So those are your choices. Okay, and I believe it's Rollie's.
Okay.
Yeah, for the remaining 7 questions.
God, I should have got that
Those are
last
your
question.
choices. All right, here we go. Rollie, one of our Hall of Fame members is both a distinguished alumni and a distinguished retired employee. Who is it?
That would be Cindy Borchert.
Ding, 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 ding.
I was hoping you were going to say
We have
Clark
our
Williams.
first point. Rollie is
How
up
about that?
1-0.
It's not going to last.
All right, all right. Next question. Julie.
That was a gimme, Ned.
That
It
was-
Come
would have
on.
been the other questions would have been a lot easier had you thrown this in front of us.
I understand. That's what they would have been too easy. Louise Erdrich, if you see that name,
Yeah.
you would have gotten it right away. All right, Julie, here we go. One of our Hall of Fame members was known for traveling to students' houses when they were absent from school and literally pulling them out of bed?
Clark Williams.
Clark Williams.
I know some kids Clark has pulled out of bed.
What a little pukes.
Yeah.
Old school. Clark was old school, huh? I dig
Clark
that.
was awesome. His daughter Kerry and I went to college together, and we're best of friends.
Yeah, I get asked a lot, why don't I do that? I think the world we live in explains why I don't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
right?
that's right.
All right, we are 1-1, tie. All right.
It's crunch time
It
now.
is.
Okay, Rollie, here you go. Ooh, this is a good question for you. One of our inductees played in the NFL for 3 seasons. Name him.
Really?
Chicago Bears for 2 years, and I'm trying to remember the other team, and I'm coming up blank. Might have been the Colts.
It has to be Robert Hughes.
Oh, that's a great guess, but no. Juli.
Paul Ratty,
No.
Tony Anderson.
Yeah.
Paul is a motivational speaker.
Oh,
Tony Anderson.
Tony
I was
Anderson.
debating between the two.
He
Oh,
first
darn
played
it.
for the Naval Academy, I believe, and then went to the NFL for 3 seasons.
Wow.
Is in the California Coaches Hall of Fame, coached out there for 40-plus years, and was a legendary coach. Yeah.
Wow, I'm learning
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
stuff here tonight.
All right, Julie, this
You're
is
like
yours.
Mr. Wahpeton
Yeah.
history.
Only because of the Hall of Fame. I
Right.
didn't know any of this stuff.
That's fascinating
Yeah,
stuff.
it's good stuff. All right,
Well, not bad for a guy west of the river.
that's right. This is a good question for
Okay,
you.
I'm ready.
This is a good question for you. This person is a multiple state champion in basketball, volleyball, and track. She still holds many records in all 3 sports.
Susan Swenson.
Susan Swenson, yeah.
Thanks.
You know,
Let's
Tyler
get that
Irwin.
tally, get that tally on
Tyler
there.
Irwin bumped her out of several
Did she?
basketball
Yeah.
records.
Yeah. Not surprised.
Her high jump record may never be touched. It's 5'8",
Oh wow.
and her volleyball records are still quite.
Yeah, and Susan was what? She was was she 6 foot? Over 6 feet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know
Man.
how tall she was, but definitely over 6 feet.
All right. Well,
All
this
right.
is it, huh?
Okay.
It's 2-1, Julie. We better show
Is this the final question?
No, it is not.
Okay.
We've got 3 left. Rollie's
Okay.
scared. He wants it to end.
I know.
So it's close.
No.
I want it to end right now.
All right, here we go. Another sports question. This Hall of Fame member first made a name for himself as an outstanding tennis player at Wahpeton High School, then an outstanding tennis player in the state games with his dad, and then he was a beloved dentist in town for decades. Julie,
5,
you
4.
Let's see. It's
3.
either Roger or Robert. Yeah, Roger. He was. Yeah, I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Robert Hughes.
that is incorrect.
Jack Pfister.
Jack Pfister.
Thank you.
He was.
Thank
was
you.
Pfister, right across
Remember
the street.
Pfister, Pope, and wasn't it Pfister, Pope, and
Yes.
yeah.
Pope is,
Really?
I believe, his
Jeez.
daughter's married name now, but
I'll do
he,
that.
he was a dentist here into his 80s, I believe.
Holly, like as soon as you
I
said
really
your 2
should've
choices,
known
I'm
that.
like, all right, I got this.
3-1, Raleigh's starting to fall behind, and it's Julie's
big
question.
guy.
We got 2 left. 2 left.
All right.
So your best chance is to tie it up, Sparky.
Yep. So
Yeah,
well,
this
but
is a
sudden
tough
death.
one.
I know I
Start
shouldn't be.
talking
I shouldn't be quacky.
They get harder as we go. This person was a member of the very first graduating class of Wahpeton High School in 1892. Name him. You gotta give her the countdown, just like she did to you.
Robert Hughes.
Ooh, it is Robert
That's
Hughes. Nice
wild.
work.
Stealing
Nice
my
work.
answers. I was, of course, going with him again. I mean,
Yes, I doubled up on you, Mr.
He's
Wahpeton.
such a baby.
Mr. Wahpeton. Now, this isn't a question, but where was that school located?
Old Central.
Ooh, south. Was it on the south side of town?
It's currently where the Parks and Rec headquarters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Really?
The
site
old
of first
armory.
high- Yes, that's the site of the first high school. All right, last
Should I get
question.
a point for that?
No, you don't.
Okay.
All right, you can save face here, Raul. This one you should know. This is definitely
Dennis
one you
Eastman.
should- No. All right, this Hall of Fame member was an instructor at science school for 29 years, but is better known for his community service in Wahpeton and throughout the state. He's done countless projects throughout town, mostly at Chihinkopah Zoo. He was a Citizen of the Year, and he's a member of the North Dakota Parks and Rec Hall of Fame.
All right. This has to be Roger Jensen. If
Roger
I didn't
Jensen.
get
Good
that
job.
That's
correct.
correct. You were going to
The
be
Jensen
Yeah, I was.
Nature Center. Thank goodness. Okay, so you saved a little face. It wasn't,
It wasn't a
But
complete
let's just
blowout.
thanks.
Four to
Just
That
two.
point that out.
really
4 to 2.
stinks. Son of a gun! I'm not kidding you.
You know what's hard
that
about
one
this?
stings a little bit.
You
Not going to tell.
Raleigh used to always have revisionist history when it came, but now this is going to be recorded. We'll always be able to
Right.
go back and see.
That's the benefit of doing
No,
off
there
the
will be
cuff
another
on
one. I
Three
gave
Border
her a
Sports
shot
Network.
at the title. A lot of people probably won't realize that I've dominated in trivia over the years.
Not even close. And we have a high school principal to vouch for me.
Boy, this would be a great program, though. Trivia
Trivia,
program.
for sure. Off the cuff trivia.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's good stuff. Well, Ned, that was a pleasure. That was
Yes.
that was a lot of fun.
Good stuff. Yes.
Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, Dave, Kerry, and if anybody has any Hall of Fame nominees, I can get them a form. But anybody can nominate. You don't have to be on the board. So
Perfect.
if you've
Appreciate
got somebody that should be in.
All right, Ned Clooten, high school principal, Wahpeton High School. We will wrap up our program coming up next.
1941, Minn Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn Kota Ag Products app. Minn Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
Welcome back to Off the Cuff. I'm not going to lie, that was a tough one to swallow. Getting
The
beat by a
trivia
girl.
champ reigns again.
That stings a little
Love
bit.
it.
But how awesome was Ned?
He was great. Like, Ned should host a trivia show.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll be our next venture.
That was really interesting. So 14 members now in the Wahpeton High School Hall of Fame. We hope you enjoyed our debut program. We've got a lot of neat ideas though coming up.
But if you have a story that you think people would be interested in, we want to hear from you. So send us an email. It's 3bordersportsnetwork@gmail.com, and you can also see that on your screen as well.
All right, every other Sunday here for the remainder of 2021.
Three Border Sports Network on their YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to them so you get notified when shows drop. And also Red River Communications, Cable Access Channel 3.
All right, thanks for spending some time with us. We'll see you next time here on the Three Border Sports Network and on Red River Communications, channel number 3.
Hey everyone. Communications access channel number 3.
You still can't spell.
Yes.
You said 2.5 years.
Hey everyone.
You know what? You still can't spell.
And she can't read.
You're supposed to be presenting that.
Yeah, my senior year now. I had to work.